Now, I wouldn't be able to justify spending $700 to travel to 3 cities to watch some footy.
With even a small points balance though, why not? I think this is a weekend well spent.
1 down, 3 to go. Sydney, here we come.
Imagine you have about 25,000 Velocity points to spend. Would you go to the Velocity e-store and buy yourself a foot spa worth $119? Or would you buy domestic flights and fly around Australia watching footy all weekend? G'day, I'm Tobias Venus, and joining me today is the only person who is brave enough to ask this question and then actually go and do it. It's customer experience specialist Josh Weckert. Welcome, Josh.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Adam is also here. He is the one who bought the foot spa, and he seems to be enjoying it thoroughly, aren't you, Adam?
Oh, yeah.
Good. So let's get into the AFL trip that we both did. You made me come on this. So a weekend of AFL for 25,000 Velocity points. Tell me exactly what the experiment was and what you set out to prove with this.
The idea was to visualize the difference between how you spend your points, say points for flights or points for, the Velocity e-store or any store for that matter, using your points. We're always telling people to, use their points for flights, business class. International is kind of, that sweet spot of where we're trying to get people to spend their points. But I think, you can tell people and you can show people. So I thought, try and show that to the audience and they can make up their mind after either reading the article or watching the video.
Yeah, it's a really easy to grasp comparison. The flights were worth about $700 and the foot spa's worth about $119. Even in that, I've used the foot spa. I don't even know if it's worth that much. What do you reckon, Adam?
It's not bad, but I think of other things I can do with the money and I'm like,
Yeah, I think he's fighting through having to use it at the moment. So what sparked this idea? Where did you come up with this?
Well, I guess I just see you guys traveling around and wanted to get involved. So I thought I'd try small first, domestic, use Velocity points, obviously a partner of the AFL. So kind of the first thought, and also a big AFL fan, which is a bit lackluster in this building, I guess, this company, which is interesting, seeing as they're all in Melbourne. But,
yes. Yeah, it's a bit weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought I would, give it a shot, pitch it to you and pitch it to everyone else, and it got through somehow. So
yeah, and I think it speaks to some of our audience who might not always be looking to have luxurious overseas trips. We do focus on that a lot here at Point Hacks, but we also, some people just want to use their points to fly domestically, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, say like a young family or someone who's just moved out of home who, maybe can't afford to buy cash tickets all the time to fly home and visit their family. And this can kind of, I guess, allow that as well. So the value that would put on that is probably more than, a business class international trip.
Yeah, and a lot of these flights, just economy flights around the eastern states are pretty cheap. 5,900 Velocity points to fly from Melbourne to Sydney or Sydney to Melbourne is like a tenth of what we're spending on business class flights elsewhere. It really does show how much value you can unlock if you're looking at points in this kind of alternative way, right?
Yeah, definitely. And if you're a savvy shopper at either Coles or Woolworths, then really after a few shops, you should be fairly close to that.
Yeah. I mean, there's bonus point offers that have given me more than a single flight's worth of value in one redemption, I'm pretty sure. Obviously you got the credit card stuff, but flybys, I've definitely gotten over 6,000 points in one transaction before, just by keeping up to date with the app. So yeah, I mean, I loved this idea because it did show this alternative way for us to consider points. Obviously, value for money definitely is at that higher end of business class and first class. But like you said, if you just need to get home and you don't have the cash, or you want to see 4 football games, this is a really smart way to do it, I think. Could you describe the itinerary to our listeners, and how did you find the thing overall?
So we had 4 games over 4 days, 3 cities, 3 flights. We started in Melbourne at the MCG, and then we went to Sydney for the Sydney Derby, at Olympic Park, and then to Adelaide for the showdown, which was, I guess, the personal favourite of mine. To go back home and watch that was great. Back to Melbourne and the MCG for Sunday.
I think my favourite part of this whole idea is how it demonstrates the range of value that you can get from frequent flyer points. How did you calculate the difference between the foot spa and the flights that we took?
Well, firstly, look at the cash cost of the flight. So I think we looked at it at about $714, and then obviously the foot spa was $119. So when you put in the taxes and equate the points, that's about 2.5 cents per point.
Yeah, which I believe
2.3 cents per point.
2.3 cents per point. I believe that's actually kind of on the higher end of how we value points. I think our valuation sits around kind of 1.8 cents. I know AFF's sits around that as well. Australian Frequent Flyer, they've done an amazing article about the expected value of points. You should definitely go check that out. Link in the description. But yeah, I think about 1.8 cents is the expected value. So this was actually a little higher, right?
Yeah, so I think it was quite good. I think that kind of shows the how cheap velocity points or velocity redemptions can be sometimes on those short flights.
And then we look at the foot spa, and that is probably at the deepest depths of the value you could expect from a single velocity point, 0.5 cents per point. Not a great redemption in that case.
No, it's not great. I don't think you're really getting the value for money there with your points.
So given that, would you recommend no one ever uses their points for things other than flights?
Not exactly. I would say people listening and watching are definitely interested in points and want to get the best value for their points. And to them, I would say no. Don't use them for really much other than flights, because flights are where you get the value, and everything else is kind of put into an advantage where the airlines and the frequent flyer programs get more out of you than you get out of them.
What do you think, Adam? Was the foot spa the right call?
I kind of wish I took the flights, to be honest.
Okay, Josh, how would our listeners go about booking a trip like this? They obviously don't have to go to the footy, but if you're looking at flying domestically to multiple cities, how would you find the reward flights and then start booking?
I would firstly just go by going flight by flight. On the Velocity website, you could probably start there. Domestically, there's quite a bit of availability typically, especially in economy class. With the dynamic pricing, it can vary, but usually, especially throughout the East Coast, you can typically find availability fairly easy on the day and the time you want.
So we budgeted about 20,700 velocity points for this trip. By the time it came to booking, something interesting happened though. You ended up spending 25,700 velocity points, and I ended up spending 30,700 velocity points, even though I only booked a couple of days after you. It's because Virgin Australia price their reward flights within a range based on demand. So when we looked at the flights originally, it was at the lowest range. But as time went on and we got closer to the date, more people were buying seats, and we ended up having to spend more. I assume because you bought a reward flight, I ended up having to pay more because demand was going up over time. Given that, how would you suggest to our listeners to lock in that lowest price tier when they're booking a trip like this?
Yes, well, firstly, just be early as possible. 330 days is when Virgin Australia release their own flights, and when you get access to partner flights as well.
Yeah.
So with Virgin Australia's domestic economy, they do have that range where it is best to get in early, because then you pay that lowest price that they have. Yeah. Typically.
Yeah, that makes sense. I do believe they don't always start at the lowest range as well, depending on if it's peak season, if they're expecting a lot of people to be traveling somewhere at a given time. They may already start kind of in the middle and then go up over time. But if you can do those 330 days in advance, that's probably your best chance, right?
Yes, definitely. That's the best chance to get the cheapest price possible. Yeah.
And you also said that business class doesn't get affected by this. They're always set at one price, right?
Yes, yeah. They're always the same price depending on the distance of travel on Virgin Australia's own domestic route.
Yeah, so when you're looking at points costs, economy, that is also set by distance travelled plus this dynamic range. Business is just the distance travelled. If you go to the Velocity website, you can see a table and that'll show you all the different prices that you can expect to pay for different destinations. So for people starting with no or few points and are just looking to kind of start traveling domestically for less, how would you go about building a small points balance?
Obviously, firstly, credit cards, just the easiest way to earn a bunch of points quickly, really. There's nothing that can kind of, I guess, earn points at a rate such as credit cards. But say if that's not an option or you don't want to go down that path, then there are other options, that's for sure. The best, I guess, other than that would be to, whenever you have a large purchase planned, to really look around and see where you can get the most points for.
Yeah, and there are plenty of tips on the Point Hacks website. Any dream travels or points experiments that you've come up with that you'd be interested to try out?
I think expanding the sports kind of idea, maybe overseas or to the state of origin, or soccer sports in the US would be great. Would be interesting.
Oh, hell
Different. I think Qantas have a good presence in the US, so. Using Qantas points to travel around and watch some exciting sports over there would be good.
What do you reckon? Like a single sport or just seeing as many sports as possible?
I think what we've probably learnt from the trip we had is it would probably be better to have a bit of a range of different sports to, I guess, keep you interested. With such a, I guess, it was a lot of footy. So
it was a lot of footy.
Break it up with some other sports and all that would be pretty great.
Yeah, I think like by the second one, we were like, yeah, this is awesome. And then I think halfway through the Adelaide game, when it was just like absolutely raining and it was cold and the game was boring because Adelaide were absolutely smashing Port, we were both just like, why do we do this? Like this actually starts to feel like work now. If you want to see another of Josh's harebrained schemes, I would highly encourage you to go and check out his date on a plane idea, which had me and my partner Chris going to have a date in Sydney. Very normal. While we had a couple of Point Hack staff have a date on Emirates first class. Chris and I had to match everything that they consumed and did on the flight. And, let's just say it was probably the most expensive night of my life. So thanks for that, Josh. Subscribe to the newsletter. That's all this guy. Subscribe to us for more conversations about how to earn and spend frequent flyer points. And as we say at the end of every episode,
fly till we die. That's great. Flight. Did you just think of that? Or no, I thought that last night actually. Because I knew that it was going to come up, so I thought
that got me.
That was a really good podcast, guys. Really enjoyed it. You guys were really good. It's more attractive in real life.